All right, everyone. Hope you heard that clap. The recording started a little late. I love informal sessions like this. This is a working session around how to turn your CRM into a data bank. I personally believe that in this marketplace, you can't spare a single lead. Not only can you not spare a single lead, but if someone runs their credit report with another lender, you don't need to know about that 2-3 days later. You need to know about that now. One of the things here at Trust Engine is that we upload that data 5 times a day. So if someone is cheating on you, you don't have to wait 3 days to find out about it. You know about it by the end of the day. I've got Josh Mettle here, who I think needs no introduction. And then I have an executive, Eric, from
Be in touch.
BnTouch. So, by the way, people always ask me what's the best CRM. I always say it's the one that integrates with Trust Engine and MortgageCoach and Sales Boomerang. And BnTouch definitely does that. So, Eric, real quick, if you could introduce yourself, and then I'll have Eric. Or, gosh, I'm on fire today. I'll have Josh introduce himself, and then we'll get into this working session.
Yeah. So my name is Eric. I am the sales manager of BnTouch. We are a mortgage-focused CRM, and we've been around since 2004, only focused on the mortgage industry. So yeah, at this point, I'd say integration's key. I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah, well, thanks for being here, and feel free to ask Josh questions. If there's something that you don't think he showcased when showing your platform, feel free to push him, or if you want to take the screen from him and show your desktop, feel free to do that, Eric.
Absolutely.
All right,
Hey,
guys. Go ahead, Josh.
I'm Josh Mettle, and I'm glad when Dave makes any kind of a flub on a video, because it makes me feel a lot better about all the mistakes that I make on video and in my presentations. I'm like, I'm not the only one who's human. That makes me feel better. It's great to be back with the Mortgage Coach community. I'll just say a few words about BnTouch. I have been a user of theirs. My entire team's been a user of theirs for going on a decade now. And what I really appreciate about BnTouch is that whenever we have an idea for a new construct or a new API feed or some sort of automation, they've always engaged us as partners and tried to embrace and integrate that change into the CRM. And that's, going back over the last 10 years. So I would say the best CRM is the one you're going to use, the one that integrates with Trust Engine, and the one that will grow with you as your team and scope grows over time. I think that's really important.
Love it. So Josh, real quick, you're a team leader now. Are you still doing any production? I mean, you've historically been a $100+ $200 million plus team leader and running a company. What is your role nowadays?
So I'm still running my production team. Really, my whole branch is a production team. They have, and my job is to help bring in leads for them. So we still have our consumer direct channel. I still do a lot of lead generation stuff for their past client database, which is what we're going to get into today. And then a lot of stuff to help them build their referral partner relationships as well. I'm originating for friends and family, but the rest of my business and my past book is on to my team, and they carry that business forward.
Awesome. Well, let's get into it. So the theme here is how to turn your CRM into a data bank. And my thesis on that is, first of all, it's got to be monitored by Trust Engine so that all the signals in there, about it, so you can make really relevant calls to people. You needs to integrate with MortgageCoach so that you're delivering presentations that convert. What are some other things you think are required to turn a database into a data bank?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to kind of zoom out just a little bit and give us a little bit of a frame. I think a lot of us have been trying to figure out how do we reinvigorate our relationship with our past client database, because there's been such low inventory. Like the number of new leads coming in the front door has been so slow because of higher interest rates and low inventory conditions, that we've had the time to invest in our database. And I know it's true for my team that they put a lot of time and a lot of energy, and the loans that have yielded out of that effort have not been as high as a level as we've been used to in years past. But again, we're in a very low inventory environment. Trying to sell somebody a 7% mortgage rate that has a 3% mortgage rate has been very challenging. And so that planting that we've been trying to do to a great extent has been in like trying to plant in frozen ground. And now the ground is thawing. Mortgage rates are coming down. Short-term interest rates on home equity lines and credit cards are going up. And there's this renewed opportunity in 2023 to really turn a high level of connection with our database into real opportunities this year. And I think that's our number one or number two opportunity this year, is to work through debt consolidation. So as I think about Trust Engine and as I think about our CRM, those are definitely our two most valuable pieces of technology. The Trust Engine is, as I call it, the artificial intelligence that's monitoring our database of past clients 24/7, 365, and then giving us information that we need to re-engage. The CRM is receiving those signals, kicking off automation to those customers to engage them in conversation, tasking our mortgage advisors to proactively reach out, arming them with scripts that they can deploy so they remember what to say with different alerts. And then the TCA, right? MortgageCoach is helping us to really help clients understand why it might make sense to go from a 3% rate to a 6.5% rate, because you're paying off $4,000 a month in debts. And I think you actually have a TCA, Dave, where one of my partners, Drake Blabaum, one of the leaders in my production team, he literally saved somebody over $4,000 a month through debt consolidation. That was a sales Boomerang inquiry alert. He had his credit pulled by Bank of America. Drake reached out to him, was able to engage him, showed him how he could consolidate debt, go with a totally different strategy than he was thinking. And at the end of the day, it made him, I can't remember the number, but by investing those savings, he ended up multi-millions of dollars more wealthy. So that's the trifecta for me of technology.
Yeah, and guys, check this out. I mean, this was a story from last year, and I interviewed Josh and Drake, and this was a cash out alert, or maybe it was an inquiry. To your point,
an inquiry.
A credit report with a big bank, and through strategy, this was just a good example of strategy always beats rate. He was able to show him how to consolidate some debt, and look at the net worth. If the borrower took Drake's advice, we're not talking about saving even a couple $100 a month. I mean, we're talking about a life-changing amount of money. I mean, by the way, not just a life-changing amount of money. This is, generational wealth by
double his net worth.
Yeah, by making the right decisions. Hey, Josh, we've got some data that we're finding that a lot more of these cash out alerts than what we would have guessed are actually turning into purchases. People are like taking all their cash out and then they're buying a house with 5% down, or they're making moves. So we're just finding out that, a lot of our cash out alerts are turning into purchases and referrals to realtors. I see you nodding your head. Are you validating that?
Yeah, we've been talking in our teams a lot about the average credit card interest rates at 22%, the average home equity lines at 9%, and car loans now are in the 9% range. And the Fed is going to raise short-term interest rates another quarter this week. So those short-term rates are taking up so much cash flow from people that they're just getting choked out. They've got the rear naked choke going, and there's just no oxygen left in the American family's budget. And so there's two ways to create breathing room there. Number one, let's refi, pay those things off. Let's create extra residual income in the family's budget each month by doing that. And then, what's the big objection when somebody says that? Well, man, I got a 4% rate or a 3% rate, but not only that, I'm 3 or 4 years into my mortgage. And if I refi, now I've got 30 more years. So we need to show them, hey, if I free up $1,500 a month from your budget, you can put that back towards principal and pay off the loan that you're on the current course of paying off in 26 years. You pay it off in 20 years or 15 years, or B, take that money and invest it and your net worth goes up. So that's one strategy. We got to show them both those avenues. But the other strategy that you're alluding to, Dave, is do you love your home? Is that home still right for you? Is it the right school district? Are you still loving where you live? And if not, then the other strategy that is kind of similar, let's sell your home. Let's take the 30% in equity. Let's take 20% of that equity and pay off every debt you have under the sun, moon, and stars. That reduces your outgoing expenses by $1,700 a month or whatever the number is. And that enables you to buy the home you want at today's interest rate, but have the same number of dollars leaving your checking account. So think that through. I have no credit cards, no car loans, none of those high interest rate, high payment debts. I paid off the 9% home equity line. I got the home I really want, and my outgoing monthly expenses stayed the same. Like that's a massive win.
And by the way, to amplify that win, that is a listing lead to a real estate agent. That is a buyer lead to a real estate agent. And when it comes to gaining market share in this market, your ability to recruit realtors, your stock just went up.
And Dave, let me share one more thing on that. I was the Zoom I was on right before I jumped on with you and Eric was with Craig Strent. And Craig Strent, I was walking him through Sales Boomerang and showing him that on the cash out alerts now, it shows you the amount of credit card balance that a consumer has. And he was like, oh my gosh. He's like, you know what all these triggered leads from Sales Boomerang are? He's like, these are all financial advisor referral opportunities. And I'm like, huh? And he's like, yeah. He's like, because you're going to pay off $48,000 in credit card debt. That has a massive payment attached to it. When you pay that off, that creates the liquidity in the family's budget to start investing with a financial advisor. And trust me, if they have $48,000 in credit cards they're making minimum payments on, they're not working with an advisor, or not a very good one. And so, yes, the on the move, it's a referral to the realtor, and on the cash out where they create money in the budget, it's a referral to a financial advisor.
Well, and also, guys, just think about this. Every family that hits these cash out alerts, it's a family in need of advice, period. And they need you to come in, give them advice. And yeah, a great opportunity to real estate advice and transaction with a realtor, financial planner, CPA, it's a family in need of advice. So, okay, so let's get into taking it into action, because a big part of this is you got to have trust engine wrapped around your CRM, but you got to use your CRM. So show us, oh, by the way, before you get into showing that, Eric, is there anything you want to say or ask Josh before he goes that way?
No, I'm excited to have him show the integration, because I think that's just really cool how it works. And I might be able to show kind of more of the standard stuff that I feel is pretty necessary in the CRM world.
Cool. So let's rock it out. Show us how you're doing it, how your team's taking action, and all the things you kind of covered at a high level.
You got it. All right. So this is the BnTouch dashboard that our team operates out of. And our, one of our tenets of success going back to when we very first started using BnTouch. And by the way, before that, we used Outlook tasks. And so the ritual around prospecting goes back at least 15 years in my team. And there's still a lot of our teammates that, that started out as loan officer assistants that are now mortgage advisors that have been with me 10, 15, 12 years. And we have this cadence every day around 2 hours of non-interrupted prospecting time from 8:30 in the morning until 10:30 a.m. And so for us, it's super simple. We just come into our BnTouch dashboard and we just knock out our tasks. These tasks can be anything from alerts from Sales Boomerang, past clients that we set follows up with for annual loan reviews, referral partners that we want to reach out to. It doesn't matter. We just set every proactive green money-making activity into tasks inside of BnTouch. And then for the first 2 hours of the day, that's what we attack. What you'll see here, Dave, is that these are signals coming from Sales Boomerang integrated into BnTouch. And once that lead comes into BnTouch, a couple of things happen. And I can kind of walk through here. If I click into the lead, you'll see that, okay, so all right, so 5.2, there was a credit improvement. So the person's credit score went up. Immediately when that happens, there is a task created for the loan officer to reach out to the customer. There is also an email campaign. I think this is the email that went out. And no, here's the email, excuse me. Oh, so here's the task created. Here's the email that went out. And then there's also an automation for a text as well. So there's a couple of touches there over a 72-hour period. And then in addition to that, behind that 72-hour period, we have one of our telemarketers or dialers calling into these records to try to set appointments for our loan officers to connect. And then, like I said, this creates a task inside the system. So this will be something that tomorrow morning, my team will execute on calling and reaching out to this person if they haven't already responded to the email. Eric, anything else you would add or want to share there?
So far, so good. Yeah.
Cool. The only other thing that was really top of mind that I think is important, Dave, is that, you know, in BnTouch, the way this works is all of the record of everything that's ever happened to this customer is in this log over here, which is really cool. This is all the emails that we send out through BnTouch. We send out surveys, all invitations to this is a investing in real estate to build a secure retirement webinar we did for past clients. So all this stuff comes out of BnTouch, and then as the customer responds, you'll see over here, this is basically our thread for every single record that's in my name. And these are all the people that have clicked through an email that we sent them. So I know that Carl McKay got my automated message on 5/1, and that may be a good indicator to give Carl a call. We can text in and out of BnTouch, like I can hit send SMS. We've got all the templates that we would send to clients all the time. So that's really cool. You can also copy right here. So I can send somebody a text message and an email simultaneously, just one message. And then as they respond, it'll come into our thread over here. If it's a text message, we'll also be notified by email that the customers text us back. So it's been a phenomenal platform for us. It's really expanded our business a ton.
So wait, Josh, don't go back and share the screen, and then I'll tell you to take it down, and then we'll talk real quick. So also want to notice in the middle, you'll notice that there's an integration to create a total cost analysis. So if you could just drag your mouse over that so folks can see that. Okay, so pull it down real quick and feel free to show it. I want to unpack a few things. So first of all, guys, I've interviewed Josh a lot, and one of my all-time favorite interview was called Gratitude for Greatness. It's like a 12-minute interview, and it was just about how he disciplines himself and he disciplines his team to prospect, first thing in the morning. I think it's like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 2 hours till noon. They do a little gratitude huddle beforehand, and they win by noon. Like, winning by noon is having that dedicated prospecting time. It's having your CRM set up the way Josh has it set up. So all your signals are in there. Database signals are at the top. I always recommend getting your database signals called by 9 in the morning. And so 8 to 9, or whatever the first hour of your prospecting time, hit your data signals, and then get through all your follow-ups. Any edits or any comments to that, Josh, before we keep going?
I noticed early in my career that I would have months, my pattern of production was like a roller coaster, right? I'd have a month where I'd close 6, 8, 10, 12 loans, and then that would be followed by 2 loans, 3 loans. And when I started coaching with, Bill Hart, he really helped me to understand that the secret sauce to increasing your volume long-term and to having a lot more consistency it's really hard to get to 200 transactions if you throw in 4 months or that you only close 2 loans, right? Like you've got to keep those transactions 15 plus for the entire year. And what he drove home to me was the loan officers that he coaches that consistently have high numbers have a absolute cadence and ritual around prospecting. It's often at the beginning of the day or in the evening, and come hell or high water, they always do that. And so we started to build that into our time blocks, where we literally had our calendars blocked out from 8:30 to 10:30. You know, you can't get an appointment. The secretary knows that their job is to block for you. Your wife knows that if she calls during that time, you send her to voicemail. It's because she's like, oh yeah, he's in prospecting, right? You just build this cadence around you that everybody knows that you're prospecting, and the team prospects during that time. And that was just one of the things that really launched our business, and it's been great for all the mortgage advisors on my team. And then if you have a platform to keep you organized, so you know who to call and what to do, that's where it really takes off. Because what people sometimes do is they're like, okay, I've got this time block, I'm supposed to be prospecting. Now who do I call? Done. That's not the energy you want to have. You want to, it's like when you go into your prospecting time, it's like running onto the football field for the Super Bowl, right? The fireworks are going off. You got to know which play is going to happen and where to go.
Love that. Eric, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I was going to say it's absolutely crucial to at least have the organization, just being able to see, okay, here are all my leads that I need to call today. Or, hey, maybe I should see what this partner is doing, see the transactions that they're a part of. It's nice to be able to just click on that and see, oh, it's all right there. And just have that. Even having your simple tasks, not only is it going to show up in your dashboard, you got your email, your Google Calendar or Outlook, you have the mobile app. I mean, everything just ties in. And when it's spelled out to you, I mean, that boosts kind of your productivity so much. But yeah, I think there's a lot of people that are still doing pen and paper. And I don't know, every week I hear, yeah, I got notepads all over the place and binders and stuff. And it's like, man, you kind of got to at least have something to say, okay, here are my clients, partners, specific groups of people, and just be able to tackle that. And I think the alert system is definitely crucial. Even something as simple as note taking, I think people sometimes overlook. But yeah, I think that's definitely a really good point. Just having it all laid out is pretty crucial.
So Josh, when we think about turning data, CRM into a DataBank, it's a combination of self-discipline, human processes that you follow ritualistically, as you put it, technology that integrates in a best of breed way, so that loan officers can be at the right place at the right time and deliver the right message. If you had a checklist, and feel free to share anything else on your screen, but if you had a checklist for the audience, what would that Josh Mettle, turn your database into a DataBank, what would that checklist be?
That's a great question. Well, the first thing is I think you need some sort of borrow intelligence, some sort of indicators to remind you to re-engage your past client database. And I believe that is going to get more and more crucial for success as we continue to see lower and lower inventory levels. And I think 2023 is going to feel a lot like 2021. We're not going to have as low of rates, but many indicators are saying we could have less inventory even with rates in the 5% range. So if there's less inventory of homes for sale, people have more fear, more trepidation. They believe that there's no pathway forward for them to make it to that next home. And so we have to engage that past client database. Like I've just been saying a ton, tomorrow's loans are yesterday's customers. Tomorrow's loans are yesterday's customers. What are we doing to continue to add value to their life? So we deserve to have that relationship. So you got to have, Sales Boomerang or a platform that is giving you borrower intelligence. You have to have a way to aggregate data so you can touch more people. most of my mortgage advisors are saying that they think it takes somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 times the amount of effort, time, and touches with customers to get the same amount of closings. So how do we do that? You have now got to aggregate 3 times as many referral partners, 3 times as many past client touches, 3 times as many annual loan reviews. That's a lot of data to aggregate. You can't do it on a pen and paper. It's just not possible. And then you have to have enough intelligence or enough strategy to help people understand why it would possibly make sense to go from a 3% to a 6.5% rate. And if you don't have those 3 things, and then as you said, the discipline to sit down and or stand up if you have a standing desk and call into your database every day, I think it's going to be really hard for most people to be successful at a high level without those components.
Yeah, I completely agree. And just the data piece, guys, is just a constant process. I mean, we're always evolving. Trust Engine's database is updated 5 times a day. So if someone is cheating on you and running a credit report, someone else, you're going to find out that day. Also, it's just never been more important that when it comes to getting to the cash out, every one of those are borrowers in need. They're borrowers that need your advice. And to me, those are the most valuable calls. When someone needs your help and you can call for advice, it's not only valuable to the consumer, it's valuable to realtors. So let's kind of go into a wrap-up mode. And Eric, anything specific you want to call out or you want to make sure Josh covers, or anything you want to share your screen on?
I was gonna maybe just show just kind of how the database is laid out, just to give a little perspective, just to say, okay, this is kind of how you might organize people, but I want to just keep it pretty basic. I don't want to get
give us the best practices.
too in depth, but hopefully you can see my screen here. But I think maybe the first thing you might notice, Josh, is the new layout that we have. And so if we've revamped kind of how everything is laid out, we're looking at the dashboard here. Really nice because you can kind of move things around. I mean, everybody has kind of their own way of interacting with their database and just what pops out at them the start of the day. So yeah, I mean, it's just nice to see your opportunities here just kind of spelled out. As far as the database goes, though, there is the pipeline, but then you also have the group view where you might further categorize people. So people in different situations within the pipeline, regardless of kind of what stage they're in, you want to be able to quickly access everybody. And then maybe you want to say, hey, there's an opportunity, first-time home buyers. Let's just maybe send you a quick text, or maybe you already created a campaign that's tailored to them. I mean, there's lots of possibilities, but I'd say with that, and forgive me if I'm going quick, but it's all about automation. And so when you have all the campaigns for not only every section of the pipeline, fresh leads, people in the process, post-funded, and then you stack that with the more general stuff like monthly newsletters, holidays, I mean, anything that's going to maintain that relationship, especially post-funded in this case. I mean, we're talking about those kind of circle back opportunities. Yeah, I mean, we're going to make sure that you're always reminded, okay, this person funded, here's what you need to do right now. Oh, hey, it's been a year. Let's go and check and see what kind of opportunities there are at this point. And so I think combining that with the actual flow of what we were talking about with the Trust Engine kind of integration on both the Sales Boomerang and the MortgageCoach, I mean, you're really tackling everything. We can talk data for just a second. So as, say, a borrower is going through the pipeline, typically able to link up to the loan origination system as well. I mean, there's a growing list of them, but at the very least, it's nice to have this data, just not only to inform your borrowers, but any participant that's on the list. We can typically note that as well. Say, hey, buying agent, Chris borrower just reached this stage of the pipeline. Let me know if you have questions. Or, I mean, you can expand it quite a bit. That goes for co-branding as well. But yeah, I think the combination of staying in tune with all of the data, making sure that your CRM is always up to date, absolutely crucial, but also managing your tasks, having your communication tracked, texts, emails, if they're clicking through links, kind of what Josh was saying earlier, just viewing all of this in the least amount of clicks, I think is absolutely crucial. So I just wanted to kind of showcase a little bit of the layout, but just give you a visual of how you might kind of at least organize people on that.
And Eric, you said something before that I just want to put a exclamation point on. You mentioned having a conversation notes with somebody, and we're talking about, maybe it's been 3 or 4 years since we've done a transaction with somebody. That connection between you and that person has diminished. That the emotional connection isn't there. But if I remember that you are in Bend, Oregon, and you like mountain biking, and I start up a conversation 4 years later, and I'm like, "Hey, bro, are the trails got dried out? Have you been out on your mountain bike lately?" And you're like, "Oh my God, I'm going on Saturday." Like, immediately you rekindle that level of relationship. But if I didn't have those notes, I wouldn't be able to start the relationship back at that level.
Absolutely.
You're muted, Dave.
Really, really good point. So guys, if you have any questions, let me know. I'm going to be doing more interviews like this with, super successful mortgage coaches that are, are using Trust Engine. They have a CRM that integrates with us. And we're going to be talking everything from customer experience. How do we turn this into a DataBank to workflows? And great job, Josh. Anything else you want to make sure we cover before we wrap it up?
I think we've hit it, Dave. I think that I guess the last closing line I would say is if you haven't had the success that you would have hoped to have had in the last 12 months by reaching out to your database, know that the market is shifting, the ground is thawing, credit card balances, home equity line balances, and the rates attached to them. Like, there's never been more dollars leaving a family's checking account every month going to pay those indebtedness. And this is really a time that people need us. And I believe there's a massive opportunity. So don't take last year's lack of results as indicative of future performance. I think if we do double down on the efforts to connect with our past client database, it's going to be a lot more fruitful this year.
Well, I'm going to have a closing thought, but before I do that, I just want to push anyone that has Sales Boomerang, one, go to your account manager, make sure you're getting the cash out alerts. Also, make sure that you have the integration with MortgageCoach turned on, because when rates do start coming down, you'll start getting rate watch alerts. And those rate watch alerts come with a TCA created. So it's going to be a lot easier for you, and you're going to get a lot more conversion as rates hit that 5.5%. And I hope, the different economists and people that are projecting rates to get at 4.5, I hope they're right. But if you're doing this right, you're going to get the purchase and you're going to get 2 or so refis. So my closing thought, Josh, I've said this a few times on stage lately, but have you heard me talk about Warren Buffett's 3 eyes? The Warren Buffett 3 eyes?
No.
Okay, so there's this article several years ago where Warren describes the 3 eyes of how markets are created. Like, think about this. Markets are created. The first eye, it starts with the innovators. The next eye comes the imitators. And the third eye, Warren Buffett's words, the idiots. And so those are the 3 eyes: the innovators, the imitators, and the idiots, according to Warren Buffett. And I kind of take that parallel to mortgage, to real estate. In 2020 and 2021, all 3 eyes killed it. But as rates have gone up, only the innovators are winning. And here's the deal, guys. What Josh is doing, this is what innovators do. They're using their CRM. It integrates with Trust Engine. It creates a mortgage coach. That is the innovator's move. So you pick which eye do you want to be, and if you're not doing this, it's costing you a fortune. And I do believe that as we see innovation not just in the mortgage industry. I mean, we've all seen what GPT does, and we're seeing what automation is doing. If you're not leveraging it, your future is just not sound. So Josh, you like the 3 I's? I bet you're going to use that at some point.
I absolutely love it. Nobody wants to be the last I, right? So it's a great push tactic. The other thing that Warren says that I repeat a lot is that he invests in company that have outsized economic goodwill, that people just love the company. An example of that you'll immediately register with is Apple starts their high yield savings account and they get $1 billion in, I don't know, was it the first day or the first week, but they get $1 billion in deposits, literally just off of economic goodwill. But in our mortgage and real estate professions, we have to build economic goodwill too, so that customers are drawn back to us. And that comes through reaching out to those customers and giving them advice when they need it. And they need it more now than ever before.
I love that story. And I don't know if you heard my interview, but the first interview I did for the Trust Engine YouTube channel was with Rich Harris. And he shares a story of how his company consulted with Apple and Goldman Sachs to launch that. And he talks about how they used data. So data is very powerful. So guys, this has been great. Josh, appreciate you. Eric, look forward to doing more innovations between our companies, and appreciate you, my friend.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Take care, everybody. This is a wrap.